So for step 16, the chassis, well, you can see that we've got a few different pieces that we need to grab, and then that's going to be attached to both the front and the rear end, connecting everything together so that we have a full chassis. Now what's interesting is, if you look back here for the small wheelbase, you can see there's B10 and B11. Okay, and so it's just the one piece. If you go to the medium build, you can see that not only do you need B10 and B11, but there's these two smaller pieces, B3 and B4. Well, because we are doing the large wheelbase, you can see that we have both B10 and B11, but now we've got B8 and B9, and they are slightly bigger. So I've got to put these things together first, and then we're going to put them in the middle and attach both halves of the chassis together. Now there are a lot of screws for this. There's 16 altogether. So I'll set this up and we'll put the chassis together. So to start off with, we need to build this centerpiece first. So you can see that this is B9 and this one is the B11. And you can see that those two pieces are going to fit together just like that. So if we put that in, we know that those two screws have to go in there. So I'll start tightening that one up. And let's put the other one in there. Make sure that's going in okay. Yep. We don't want it binding, so I'll just... You can see it's going to move a little bit here, but that's okay. We'll get it in place as we go here. Yeah, I think so. That is correct, so I'll just have to hold it as best I can while we screw this in. Tightening up now. There we go. And remember, this is going into hard plastic, so when you reach the end, you'll know, because it won't turn anymore. Yep. And same for the other side. So there we go, there's half. So we're going to need to do the exact same thing on the other side. So that now is going to fit like that. So that would be on the other side. So we'll put these two screws in. And again, I'm going to make sure that the other one goes in okay as well. That one is not going in quite as well as the other did. So why? What is the difference? No, that is correct. So let's try again. No, that time it worked. I'm not sure what happened there. And we'll do the other side. Okay, so hold these together while we screw these ones in. Now this seems a little awkward in terms of how you would hold this to tighten it up, but once it's done, it's solid. Yep. And the other side, just do a final check. Yep. So there we go. Those are the two pieces that are going to fit on either side. So there's our 4. So now that those 2 screws are in on both sides, we can now put these 2 together, and you can see how they're going to fit into those holes. And you can see that there are 4 more screws that are going to come in from the other side. Now I'm going to flip this over just to make this easier to hold. And we'll get one down there. I'll just screw it in most of the way. Same thing with this one. And then we've got 2 more down there. And 1 more right there. Okay, now that I know that they're all going in okay, well, that one is done. That one is mostly done. Let's do these. That's done. It's the only one that wasn't done. And again, when you get to the end, it's not going to move. You'll know you've tightened it up. Now, because those 4 screws are in all the way, I'm just going to make sure that these last 2 haven't moved, and just make sure that they're nice and tight, which they are. So there we go. There is the mid piece that now attaches to everything else. So if we grab our gearbox here, we are going to now fit that together. You can see that that is going to sit like that and come together that way. There, just like that. So we can start screwing that in. So I'll take one of these screws. Now I'm not going to do it. I'm basically going to go make sure that every screw is able to go in before I tighten anything down. Plus this is going to help hold everything together. So same thing, let's get that one in, holding that together. And same with that last screw. Make sure that that fits in there nice as well. Okay, now that they're all in, I'm going to just continue to screw everything down. And again, I'm going to go from side to side, just making sure and helping to make sure that we don't have anything that starts to bind. Okay, they're in, and we'll do the same thing with the other side. They're in, and again, it's hard plastic to hard plastic, so you know when to stop when you're screwing those in. So there we go. There's the rear end done. So we're left with 4 screws, and we need 4 screws, so I haven't missed anything. So this is now going to fit together like that. And let's start with this top one. Now I realize that all this is 16 screws, and maybe I could have just sped up the whole video and not bothered going through every little bit. But you know what? Maybe through one tip or two that I have mentioned in this process with the screws and how to make sure they go in properly. Maybe you'll still get something out of it, but I realize that this part might be a touch boring. But I'm going to do it anyway, because you never know. You may see something and go, oh, I didn't see that, and I should have done that. Or maybe you said, oh, I'm not doing that. Okay, we got one final screw here. Well, it's going to be easier to just stick that on there and get it in the hole. There we go. Just do this side now. And I think we are good to go. Yep. So there is the full chassis put together. Very, very cool. Now, what's interesting is I noticed here that they're even showing with this fully tighten all screws. Well, we kind of did that when we were doing the servo, so I'm not sure why we wouldn't have done it before, because it never said don't tighten them up. But I guess you got to make sure that those are tight at the step. So 16 is complete. So now we're going to move on to step 17 and work on the propeller shaft.